Hello, welcome to a new video about my Ork build that I've been currently refining. I think I'm at the point I'm now happy with it, so I'll share what I'm using and how it works. This game is against Chaos. As you can see, my Chaos opponent here has deployed in a very sort of standard line, a mixture of Great Weapon and Axe and Shield Chaos Marauders, backed up by a bunch of Spawn and some Forsaken Chaos Marauders and a character who is, let's have a wee look here, it's Archeon. Yeah, that's right. So as we can see here, it's a very standard deployment. Lines, two lines, some cheap stuff in the front, harder stuff in the back, hard ass character. Now let's have a wee look at my Orks on the other hand. They're all over the place here. So let's look at this from above, give a better idea of what's going on here. This is an attacking formation I'm experimenting with for the Orks. If you've seen my previous videos, my previous armies, normally sort of deploying lines with cheap stuff at the front to engage and then feeding the harder stuff in afterwards. With the Orks, I'm kind of deploying in a sort of arrowheadish formation. This is sort of experimented over time and reached this kind of point. So here's the front here, and sides and back. And this is very different from most because I've got the hard stuff at the front. So down the front I've got a giant and 2 unit of black Orks. Then just off to the side of them I've got 2 units of savage Orks. Then we've got boys either side there and there. And then finally savage Ork big gun boar boys at the back. And then tucked in the middle are 2 units of trolls. And I'm using Azag the Slaughter. Basically because he's still quite good in combat. And more to the point he's got death magic. And I just get hard on for death magic. And tucked away over there in the woods just now is a unit of Goblin Wolf Riders. Now the theory with this is you take the enemy at a run. You run straight at the line. In this case I'd offset slightly in case he deployed up in the hill, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't running along a valley and assaulting up a hill. But the idea is it runs up, you connect with the front, and you don't actually push the other bits up straight away. You let the opponent almost lap round. So ideally he pulls in all the fighting to the front. If you look at it from above, it pulls in all the combat to the front and then slowly flank, and you expand out to flank. If on the other hand they flank you, well, you just turn to face. You've got units there you can feed in, it's not a major sort of issue. The trolls are in the middle because I discovered when I started playing with the Orks I had a real problem with large heavily armoured things, especially things like demigryphs, etc. So that's why the boar boys and the trolls are tucked at the back, because they are sort of specialist units I need to make sure engage in the right place. So let's start the battle off. So off we go. I basically run everything forward, looking to try and engage this side of his line. The opponent realises his mistake and starts kind of swinging round. Now the general theory I'm trying here is, someone can quote me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Omar Bradley, General Omar Bradley said the key to win the battle is to get there firstest with the mostest. Something along those lines. And that's the theory here, is to try and bring all my army to bear in a small point of a battle line and then crush that quickly and then be able to flank out, well, still protecting my flank. So very hard units at the front who will just pretty much stomp anything they come across. So here I've done a wee kind of reposition because I realised he's going to get further round, so I'm going to aim a bit my idea is to hit a bit in the middle of his line to sort of split it and break it. I'm not looking just to turn the flank, I want to punch through and break his line in two. The Wolf Riders will start running around the flank. Over here he gets a bit gung-ho with Archeon and runs him forward to drop Fiery Death on the Black Orks. But again, damage spells for the most part don't feel like they do much for me. Apart from the direct damage, the disruption values sometimes just feel, but as you can see that's just no effect whatsoever on anybody. Even the fireball had a little effect but not much, and he's spunking all his magic and that. So as you can see he's now running across this way, he's swinging around this flank. I've sent some Wolf Riders in to delay one unit there just to try and break that flank up a bit and stop him lapping around too hard. On the other hand, I'm just moving up to engage. He's literally ordering my troops to move through, and then we start engaging there. That's some Black Orks and Forsaken, and he's now just sort of piling everything to these Black Orks. There are the other Black Orks with a slot flank. The Wolf Riders, having disrupted that unit, now come into here to try and break this up a bit. Here, bad bit of micro on my side. I'm busy paying attention to here and trying to feed reinforcements in. Missed this bit, getting a wee bit too close for comfort. But it's not bad, you know, it's unit of Ork boys got flanked, but it's not the end of the world. It's a big, if we have a wee look in the woods here, there's a lot coming in, it's got messy, so I send the Wolf Riders hit a bit later than I was expecting. Azag I must have misclicked, he went wandering off. I was actually trying to death snipe Archeon some more, who I think I managed to get the death snipe off, but Arzag kept wandering off. In the middle you can see one unit of Black Orks is just slowly munching that one. Same here, this lot's fallen with the giant. Over here now, order some Savage Orc big guns in here because this looks like a danger zone. There's a lot of units building up. The other unit of Savage Orc big ones, I just ordered around the flank there, ready to start rolling up this flank. So as you can see, we're fully engaged now. We've got a nice little battle line that I've sort of formed, but I'm crushing him here. It's pretty much going down quickly. What's holding me up is spawn. Spawn are really good for the fact they just don't damn well break, so you have to kill them to a T, but the giant does that fantastically. So as you can see now, those centre units are starting to break. This flank's looking a bit shaky. I'll not lie, this flank's looking a bit shaky. I hadn't noticed Archeon slipped all the way over here. But at this point I've cleared up the middle now, so I start sending the Black Orks over there. Most of those units are pretty mauled all the same. These big guns weren't needed here in the end, we've sort of broke that lot, so the big guns are moving to intercept, the giant's moving to intercept. Arzag's coming back because we spotted Archeon. Right, it's time to kill him because he can solo units by himself if you just leave him to pick and choose. So I send the big guns after him. At this point it's descended into a bit of a mess, but it's a mess of my choosing. You know, we've got this small fight here. This lot's been held up and damaged. I've lost a couple of units, but that's fine. Over here I've completely crushed him for minimal loss. And although he's starting to break through, I've cleared up enough that I can turn and engage. You can see the giant's having a field day. Archeon tries running away and gets death sniped again. In come the boar boys piling in here just to sort of try and stabilise this bit, because it's looking a wee bit dodgy there still. He could pull it back. He's got some more units coming in there. Yeah, over there, unit of boys is just kind of chasing stuff off, and I'm just leaving them to it just now. The giant is trying to swamp with marauders with great weapons. Now over here, I send in Arzag after Archeon, thinking he's almost dead. This will be easy, but buff him up, send him in, trying to get a wee death snipe on him to kill him. Yeah, that did not go according to plan. He is tough. I forget how tough Archeon is. As you can see, the giant's cleared up here and he's coming over to smash spawn. Here they're starting to break. In the middle, it's definitely not looking good for me there. Archeon is just absolutely mincing him. He's on, like, Archeon's on like 1 hit point there, and I can't kill him. You know, he's kind of, is it 1 hit point? Sorry, that's 1 unit strength, isn't it? But you can see he's dead. He's basically dead. 1 good hit, and I'm not getting it. He's almost taking me out. So we're ordering some Black Orks that have now been freed up to sort of finish him off, and at last he goes down. But from a badly wounded Archeon, he took me right down. So Archeon's a real tricky character. You really, if you see him in the battlefield, try not to engage him too much. I try and death snipe him away. At this point he's broken. I've got some Wolf Riders chasing stuff down there. There's a few units that spawn basically holding off, and that's just because they're unbreakable. So yeah. That was it. Kind of the plan worked. Came in, managed to turn the flank, get the initial sort of upper hand, and the arrowhead formation kind of seems to work. It's still early days. I've not tried it out too much in the game. It's a wee bit unusual, I think. I've not seen many people do it, but yeah, for the Orks it seems to be working. The tricky thing with Orks is things like heavy armour characters. I've not faced a real heavy demigriff opponent with this army, because last time I did they just absolutely annihilated my Orks. So a few things to try there. But on the whole, it's a slightly different way to attack from the ways I've talked in the other one about the lines and outflanking. This one's much more aggressive, and it feels much more orky. You just move your entire army into contact and let the front line fight, and then feed in units as your opponent reacts. So they'll either try and flank you or they'll pile into the middle. And either way, it makes the fight messy, which overall suits your Orks, and it gives you a chance to get flanks, etc. If you just look at the final total there, my losses were actually surprisingly low. 420. I'm not quite sure how that counts as a Pyrrhic victory against Chaos. But if we have a look at the kills, especially things like the Black Orks just stand there and hammer things all day. The same with those guys. The giant is just the star of the show. He just can counter almost any unit in the game. Guns are the problem there. He can get shot up quite badly. So if you look at the Chaos sides, like the Spawn, I love Spawn. I've used Spawn in some of the Chaos builds I've been playing around with. They're really good. I would have put them in the front line if that was me. The Spawn just stand there and take the charge. That's their kind of job, and then fed the great weapons in. But and maybe deploying more of a block again. If that was me, I'd have done maybe the infantry, then the spawn, then the great weapons. So the marauders take the charge, the spawn lock the units down, and then you flank them with the great weapons. That would just be my choice. But oh no, yeah, it was a good practice game for the greenskins, and hopefully starting to like this build and hopefully be using it a lot more. Catch you later.